Hello, friends. It's the Matt Murphy radio show underway for another day. I'm sorry I made myself laugh. I was telling Belle Kay the joke about Tonto and Lone Ranger that I could not tell on the air yesterday, and I can't tell it to you on the air. I'm sorry. I'll tell you off air if you want to know it. Thursday edition of the Matt Murphy Show gets underway right now on Super Talk 99.7 WT, and we're so happy that you've decided to join us. We are live just down from Music Row in the Music City. Glad to have you along for the ride. We've got 3 hours to get to the drive with Brian Wilson, and in that amount of time, hopefully we will educate, entertain, inform, and do the things necessary to keep you locked in on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're locked in on day number 674 of our proceedings today. We'll give you the title in a moment. We've got 19 days to go before Election Day 2024 is officially upon us. Obviously, a lot of folks voting early in the state of Tennessee and many other states around the United States of America, which is why I do not believe that there will be a quote-unquote October surprise. More coming on that during our time together today. Locks for Trump Day 229 in progress. If you want to see how that's going, join us over on the Super Talk television side of things. More on that in just a moment. Don't forget about our watch party coming up on November 5th. We're very excited, and I hope you are as well. I've got details throughout the show today about how you can be in the very special VIP section. And Belle Kay has wagged his finger at me that if I ultimately make the decision to give away my Trump shoes on the night of the event to a VIP listener who's in the VIP section, that I do not, in fact, wear those shoes and take them directly from my feet. I was under the misguided opinion yesterday that that made them even more valuable.
No, but nobody wants your stank on those shoes.
Belle has informed me. Belle clearly tells me that it makes them I have not gotten Ken Weaver's take on this yet, but I believed that if I were wearing the shoes at the time that they were being given away, that would create even more value in the shoe. I'm being told that that's not the case, Ken Weaver.
Well, just get you some of that powder in a can you can spray in them before you hand them over.
You know what I need? You ever see that movie Holes? Remember that movie Holes?
No.
I need some of that sploosh.
I think Holes.
Oh, it's a great film. Got Sigourney Weaver in it.
It's a kid's film, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's a kid's book, and it's not a kid. I mean, it's. I don't know what you mean by kids movie.
Like it was targeting young adults.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. It's based on a book that was an adolescent read. But it stars Sigourney Weaver. John Voight's in it.
John Voight.
Oh yeah. It's got a great cast. And there's a Henry Winkler plays an inventor, and he's trying to invent something that will stop the stink in shoes. And I think I've got this right, that the invention that he comes up with is called sploosh. Just put a little sploosh in there. Anyway, so that's what I need, Ken Weaver.
Yeah, just get some of that. Get it in a spray can.
Sure. Just spray it on in there.
Not a fan of John Voight. He bit me once.
What?
Trying to get into a cab.
Is this that scene from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Then he buys his car. He thought it was John Voight's car, but it was a different John Voight.
They confirmed it with a pencil.
That's right. The bite marks and the bite on the arm or something or another. That's pretty good. That's good. How's it going today, Ken Weaver?
Going pretty good, Brother Murphy.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How was your drive-in?
It was. Well, I've found a different way in whenever I'm having issues staying on 24. More often than not, I am diverted to 440 to head over to 65, then 65 north to 40, then off to Demumbrian. However, that exit off of 65 is a little close to Demumbrian, and you start getting over and you risk your life.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so I found a new route, and I feel a lot better about it now. So, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Well, I'm glad. Your life, I forget how much your life has changed in these last few months.
I was watching scary movies all the way up to 10 o'clock last night.
Oh, man.
Before I went to bed.
Are you a fan of the scary films?
Oh, I like them.
I've become more of a fan of the jump scare type movie as I got older. I hated them when I was younger. Absolutely hated them.
I like the ghosty ones. I like ghosty and demon movies, that sort of thing.
I watched, I strongly recommend, it is a weird one. It's out there.
Okay.
But the Late Night with the Devil, it just came out this year.
Outstanding.
Oh, what a great movie. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's a great movie. Because it blends like the old exorcism flick, It's got some gore, blood and guts in it. It's got, demonic possession type deal. I mean, it's kind of got all of that stuff rolled into one. And I think that the style of the film, they do it in that late 70s kind of style.
Yeah, like it's like it was like the Johnny Carson show.
That's right. No,
yeah, it's
fabulous
outstanding.
film. No, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. And I was watching it by myself because nobody in my household would watch that thing, can we? Nobody.
Watching one tonight. It's got Nick Cage as the he apparently is a serial killer. And it is called Long Legs.
Oh, I want to see. Tomorrow on Friday, we will get you're watching it tonight, Weaver?
I'm watching it tonight.
Okay, all right, good. I want a review tomorrow.
Okay,
because I want that to be a good movie.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about it because I don't know if I want to see Nick Cage as a killer. I like Nick Cage. He's one of my favorite actors, and I'm kind of excited about seeing him in this role. But I don't know. Well, we'll see. But apparently it's really creepy. And I've seen one part in a trailer where it's showing his face. Like they make him look really, fat. And the camera's right up on his face and he's just going.
You're creeping me out.
It's real creepy, man.
I like, Nick Cage, I don't think he's ever turned a role down. But
he's played. I've never seen him play a role like this.
Yeah, it's a different thing for him. Yeah. Hey, did you see him in Pig?
Yes,
Pig was great.
Outstanding.
Pig was fabulous.
But it's sad. It ticked me off.
They took his pig.
Yeah.
And I won't give up the ending. But what was that film years ago? It's a scary movie where Nick Cage. I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
Oh,
I've seen
8mm.
Is it the one where they put bees on his head? There's a movie that Nick. This sounds like I'm making. No, I'm not kidding. Where it's like I don't think I've seen this movie, but I've read about it. Where he ends up on an island of women, and all the women hate men, and for some reason, as a punishment, they put a basket of bees on his head.
That sounds like something that would happen to Nick Cage.
And he's laying on the ground,
happened to me.
writhing in pain, screaming, "The bees! The bees!"
Well, I've got to see that.
Somebody will know this movie.
I like weird movies.
It's a weird one, from what I understand. Yeah. Well, we'll get a full review from Ken Weaver on Long Legs for tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It is that season, right? I mean, Halloween's on the way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was asking somebody a little while ago if they were planning on going. I don't really go. Do you go to Halloween parties, Ken Weaver?
No, I don't. Haven't been to a Halloween party in a long, long time.
Yeah, I was. I just never know what to go as. You know what? I always just take a big stick and I wave it around, and people ask me what I am, and I say I'm Shakespeare. See what I did there?
Bye. I'm leaving.
Don't. I need you here.
I'm out.
The plants will die.
I'm done.
It is called Wicker Man, I think.
Wicker Man.
Is the bees, not the bees, the bees.
Oh, you know what? I was wondering if that's what it was, because that's a remake of a 70s film that I want to say maybe Peter Cushing was in it. I don't think
he was in a lot of scary stuff.
But yeah, it was a remake.
Well, I'll be.
It is apparently a fairly weird flick. Weird enough where Nick Cage ends up with a head full of bees. I don't know what to tell you.
I freaking love Nicolas Cage, man.
Oh, man, he's good. Oh, Con Air, that god-awful southern weirdo accent that he had in Con Air.
You got to see him in Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart's good. I'll tell you, one of the, if not the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life was Leaving Las Vegas.
Yes. Man, you talk about one of those movies that is so good, but it is so sad.
It is so sad. And it is relentless because you know exactly what's happening. You know what's going on, and there's no saving it.
Right.
There's no saving him.
Right.
He has decided. And there's a scene at the beginning of that movie, not to get too deep into this, but there's a scene at the beginning of that movie, Ken, where the guy is giving him his severance check because he's an alcoholic and he lost his job as a result. And he looks at the check and he looks up at the man and he says, "I'm sorry." And it is the most gut-wrenching scene. The way that he looks at him and says, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's like I can't help it. I'm sorry that I'm doing this to everybody involved, and then it just goes off the rails from there.
Sure
Leaving
does.
Las Vegas, fabulous movie.
Absolutely.
And I used to have a thing for Elizabeth Shue, so there's that.
Ooh, boy, she's pretty.
Yeah, she's pretty. 17 after the hour. All right, let's get into it. You know what we're talking about, and I'm interested in your thoughts on what went down last evening. Brett Baer, look, I believed and I declared my belief, and it turned out I was right. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. In this case, I was. You want to give me a little something there, Belle? Thank you. Murphy was right. Murphy was right about Brett Baer. Yeah. Thank you. So, as someone, and I don't pretend to put myself anywhere close to the level of a Brett Baer with regard to interview skills or whatever. But I want to give you a comparison and an example of the type of pressure cooker he finds himself in and what he is trying to get out of that interview versus what Team Kamala Harris is trying to get out of that interview. Because I saw the moment, and it happened pretty early on in the interview where Brett Baer realized that she was going to answer a question as long as he let her. They compressed the time, and later on in the evening, he talked about the compression of time with regard to Kamala Harris's team. They originally said that they would give them 25 to 30 minutes. They said that the interview would start at 5 o'clock. The interview did not start until 5:15. They knew that he had to turn this interview around by 6 o'clock Eastern time. 6 o'clock Eastern time. So they knew that they were compressing the time against a deadline that he had to get the interview turned around. They also knew that they were going to give him less than the time that they promised him, and then they were late. And I promise you this, they were late on purpose. It occurs to me that Kamala Harris's purpose for doing the interview might have been to try to reach undecided voters or never Trump voters that still watch Fox News because they consider themselves more conservative than liberal, or they just want a little more of a fair and balanced approach to newscasting, which Fox News delivers. I know that lovers of MSNBC don't want to hear that. I know that lovers of CNN don't want to hear that, but it's true because you dismiss half of America. I appreciate half of America, and half of America wants the news delivered to them in a slightly more balanced way, and they get it on Fox News, and the numbers bear me out on that. It is not even close. So based on the numbers of viewers that she knew she would get, and maybe she thought acting tough would be the point of the interview. Maybe she thought that the moment where she's screaming and yelling, it was obviously a pre-planned thing that she started screaming and yelling at one point about Donald Trump and democracy so that she can get the soundbite out. But if you're the interviewer, because I hear from a lot of people that suggest to me that this thing is, it's easy. Just yell her down. Ask her the tough questions. Make her give you the tough answers. Go watch that interview that Brett Baer did last night. In my opinion, it was a master class in asking questions, following up, and feeling like you have to interrupt if you're going to get any answers. Early on in that interview, Brett Baer decided that he was going to have to interrupt her. Knowing that there are portions of the audience, as soon as he does that will dislike it, that will say, that was unfair. You interrupted her. You wouldn't allow her to answer the question. She was trying to answer the question, and you would not let her answer the question. It has been my experience, and I'm not pulling the I've done this for a while card, but I've done this for a while. So there's the card. I guess I did pull it. When you interview people that don't necessarily want to be there but feel like they have to check the box in order to move forward in their candidacy, particularly politicians, you know pretty early on when you're dealing with someone that's going to answer a question for as long as you let them. And here's what I mean. They say they're going to be there at 5 o'clock. They don't show up till 5:15. They originally tell you you've got 25 to 30 minutes. They tell you even as they show up, it's more like 20, if that. Then 15 minutes into the interview, as Brett Baer described, you've got people behind Kamala Harris as they're doing the interview, waving at you, telling you to shut it down, telling you it's over, telling you they've got to go. All of that's happening in the background, and you're just trying to get answers to questions. It is, and once again, this is not, you can be a fan of Brett Baer, you can hate Brett Baer's guts, it doesn't matter. In my analysis, I'm telling you that it is a more difficult task than you think to sit down with a politician and get a straight answer out of them, especially when they have no intention of giving you one. So what are you supposed to do? You do what Brett Baer does. You ask the question, you follow up, you interrupt with facts, you try to get them back on point, you try to get them off the scripted answers, and you do the best you can. And you are left with that interview. And she simply did not answer one question in a straightforward way. And my goodness gracious, she's just horrible. As simply as I can put it, Kamala Harris is not good at this. I don't even begrudge her the fact that she's a Marxist socialist. She's not good at this. More on that and your take. If you've got a different one, I'd love to hear it. 6-1, I won't filibuster you. 615-737-9986, either via the phone lines or the super text line. We're just getting underway on The Murphy Show. Did you know when you transact business on a daily basis that you're actually funding America's future? And it's not the future that you want for you or your children, I'll tell you that. Most major credit card companies funnel millions of dollars to liberal causes and candidates hoping that you don't notice. It's time to take a stand. It's time to get the woke out of your wallet. Coin is the conservative credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future. I ask you to apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN.com. Coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. Do you have big plans this weekend? Are you doing something at the house? Maybe, you're enjoying the cooler conditions in Middle Tennessee right now, and you're thinking about, I don't know, a big pot of chili and watching some football on TV. You know who's also making plans right now for your home? Bugs. That's right. Mice, rats, rodents, other critters and creatures and creepy crawlies and spiders and the nasties that want to get into your house and take advantage of the stuff that you worked so hard for. That's right. That's what they do. They're a little communist. And it's time to get rid of them through U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is dedicated to this purpose, friends. They understand those disruptive pests that can cause a hassle in your life, and they get rid of them jiffy quick with their multi-prong approach to pest protection. It starts with full-service pest control, so they stop the spiders, they stop the ants, they stop the roaches, they stop the mice, they stop all of that 100% money-back guarantee. They also provide termite protection. Termites can destroy your home, and every home's threatened by termites in this state. And crawl space services available as well. Find out more when you go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com, or give them a call and schedule that free inspection today. I promise you, you'll be pleased when you do. That's 590-1260. 590-1260 for US Pest.
We have a crash, 440 eastbound, right before 65. And Israel says they got their man in Gaza. We'll tell you about that at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I am next up. No. I do not want. No, thank you. Oh, no, please, give it to someone else. No, I'm not worthy.
I don't like the benefits package.
Can we talk about the compensation, please?
We have a wonderful life insurance plan.
Can we discuss housing? Perhaps a bunker? Yeah, if you're the next in line, man, you're like, oh, no, please. Abu is much more qualified than me.
Yeah.
And by the way, I apologize to anyone of Middle Eastern descent who I'm offending with my accent, but that's just the way it is. Because that's what I think. I mean, if you're next up, you don't want to be next up. If you're next up, you're next to dead, according to Israel. Because Israel is, as my grandpa used to say, they've had a belly full of it.
Yeah, they've
had enough of it.
They're not messing around.
No. I mean, how many times in our lifetime over the last 25, 30 years, or, say 50 years, since I was born, 1973, has Israel had to do this?
Yeah.
Where you tamp down terrorism and then you allow the quote-unquote peaceful Palestinians to rebuild and to grow, and then it is demanded of you by other nations. I mean, did you see where our own Secretary of State just the other day, don't get me off on a toot here, our own Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said, well, we've talked to the Secretary of Defense, and we've talked to our Israeli counterparts, and we can't really keep up with some of the military munitions that we're providing the Israelis until they recommit to providing the people of Gaza with more relief aid. Friends, the people that are in control of the Gaza Strip, that would be the terrorist organization known as Hamas, those that are not dead right now. They have, for years, since they've been in charge, raked in billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. And do you know what they use that money for? Do they build schools? Do they build hospitals? No. They build tunnels and they build rockets.
They build tunnels under hospitals.
Under hospitals.
And schools.
And schools. So as to protect themselves while they plan the next attack against the Israelis. Do you want to know why this happened last October 7th? I'll tell you after Ken Weaver delivers the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Looks like they've cleared that crash. It's eastbound 440 there at 65. Israel's foreign minister says the man killed in today's Defense Forces operation in Gaza is top Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Tim Sufi-Burridge reports from Tel Aviv.
It's known that it's been one of Israel's key war aims is to take out Yahya Sinwar. He was the head of Hamas in Gaza at the time of the October 7 terror attack. Effectively, he was Israel's most wanted terrorist, responsible for the most heinous of crimes on that day, the worst terror attack in Israeli history. And the statement from the foreign minister is expressing hope that this will pave the way. The death of Yahya Sinwar will pave the way towards a negotiation to free the hostages.
Yeah, that's a crowd you hear in the background of Israelis gathering outside IDF headquarters. This is a big deal for the families and the friends of hostages. Hendersonville police here in Middle Tennessee telling News 2 traffic stops led them to get a search warrant for a convenience store and smoke shop over the weekend.
Ultimately, search of that then revealed that they were selling marijuana out of the store, as well as some culinary products that they're utilizing for inhalant purposes.
Now, they're called Whippets and Galaxy Gas to get high. New Shackle Island Market and Smoke Shop is where the search warrant was conducted. Police arrested 25-year-old Omar Al-Azab. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Craft Body Scan is celebrating their 7th anniversary in existence. It was 2017 when they came into existence, and they came into our community several years ago. I love it. I love that Craft Body Scan is here because I love what they do. And right now, what they do is going to cost you a lot less because they are offering you a very special anniversary present. That's right. The anniversary present goes to you, friends. They're giving you a full body scan opportunity for $700 off their full price. Full body scans are just essential in my estimation into making sure that you understand what's going on inside of your body. So it's non-invasive. It only takes about 8 or so minutes. I've done this, and I absolutely love it. Because it helps you understand fully what to expect out of your body, what to know what's going on, whether it's in your chest, your heart, your lungs, your bone density, evaluating your health in your abdomen, which is a difficult word for me to say, but I try to plow through it anyway, your stomach area, your intestine area, all the parts of your body that need to be checked out. And by the way, a lot of these issues that come along, they'll be able to see them before you would experience any symptoms, which is why it's so important to see your health clearly. No better time to do it than right now. $700 off this life-changing scan. Don't wait. Get yours today. craftbodyscan.com. That's craftbodyscan.com or 615-436-1000. 615-436-1000. So I don't care for voting stickers, and I don't care for the phrase Friday Eve. Look, y'all do you. I don't go about my business telling people how to handle theirs, but I'm just here to tell you, every time you hear the word Friday Eve, a puppy dies. So, I mean, you do what you've got to do there. It's 1238 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I promise. Yes, Bell.
Would you like to know the title?
Oh, yeah, there's a title to today's show. 674 is entitled.
Matt Murphy welcomes you to another fabulous edition of Friday Eve.
That's awful.
Dead puppies for everyone.
That's just, see, I mean, I don't know why you hate, I mean, if it were kittens, you wouldn't be doing this.
No, of course not.
But it's puppies and you do it. Every
Right.
time you hear the word Friday Eve, a puppy dies. See, another one just died because I said it. I mean, see how that goes?
It's horrible.
I mean, it's awful, but you people contribute to it. My hatred of Friday Eve is matched by my hatred of those voting stickers. So this all started, several of you have asked me where this started, and I'm going to tell you. It all started maybe, I don't know, 20 years. I mean, it's a long time ago. It's probably 15 years ago. I voted at a place that I affectionately called Stinky Feet Church because we voted in the gym, and the gym smelled like stinky feet. So we called it Stinky Feet Church. You go in, and I guess a lot of the folks that attend the church, it was an old Baptist church, a lot of the folks that attend the Baptist church were there to help as poll workers. And typically when you're dealing with poll workers, you're dealing with older folks, maybe retired people. And I appreciate every single one of those people that spend time out of their busy day, spend time out of their busy week, going and making sure that our process runs as smoothly as it does. So I was going home. I had always thought the stickers were kind of silly. I was going home. I had not been able to vote in the morning. And so I got off work. I did a few things throughout the day. I was working mornings at the time. And, you know, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I swing by, stand in line, I do my business. And as I leave, I put my ballot into the thing, and, you know, it goes down into the chute. And I walk to the exit, and the guy says, "Oh, here's your sticker." And I said, "No, thanks. I don't want one." And the guy looked at me like I just shot a dog. I mean, he was like, "What? What? You don't want?" And he said, "You have to take a sticker." And that's what started it all. If you know anything about me, because I'm a fierce individualist and I'm a fiercely independent thinker when it comes to the United States of America and how we do our business. One of the reasons that this country is so valuable around the world is the stock that we put in your ability to think for yourself. Now, obviously, collectively, we have to, from time to time, get together and establish the rule of law and whatnot, and what we're going to allow and what we're not going to allow. And a lot of that has to do with the rights of other people. But the easiest way to guarantee that I'm not going to do something is to tell me that I have to do something. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking to myself, right? The guy says, "Well, you have to take a sticker." And I thought to myself, well, you just guaranteed that I'm not taking a sticker
I don't
ever.
have to do anything.
I don't have to do a damn thing. I gotta, at some point I'm going to die. That's a certainty because everything does. But other than that, I ain't got to do anything. And so I'm like, nope. Not taking it. You don't want a sticker? No. And so over the years, I've done this every time I go to vote, and it's always a hoot. I'm telling you, enjoy yourself a little bit at the polling place. When you vote, go vote, and then when it comes time for them to give you the sticker, say, "No, thank you. I don't want a sticker."
Who pays for the stickers?
We do.
Waste of money.
Complete waste of money. So what is the point? If I got serious with this subject for a moment, which I'm really not, what is the point of a sticker? What possible point is there other than to make you feel better about yourself around the office, around your place of business?
It encourages other people to vote.
And this is what I would tell you. If I walk into a room and I got my little "I voted" sticker on, and somebody's in that room and they say, "Oh, you voted, I should vote. I didn't realize the election was today until I saw that little sticker on your body. I'm going to run off and vote." We don't want those people voting. Those are not people that you want to vote. Who doesn't know that it's time to vote?
It just annoys me that it's such a frivolous thing, but nobody looks at that and goes, waste of money. There's no reason for us to be spending money on these stupid stickers.
Now, every time I bring this up, there is a big push against me. And I think that push is coming from the sticker cabal, the sticker mafia. There's a sticker mafia out there, Bill. And apparently they make buku bucks on these stickers.
Oh, Big Sticker's behind it.
Big Sticker is all over this thing. And I'm not casting aspersions, and I'm not saying I have any inside info, but it wouldn't surprise me one single bit if Dan Mandis wasn't a part of Big Sticker.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
I mean, because I understand how you get sucked in.
Oh.
They take you out to dinner. They wine you and dine you. Hey, have you seen the new Yeti stickers? Look at these. These are pretty nice.
You know what's next? Is remember the Seinfeld episode where Kramer wouldn't wear the ribbon?
You must wear the ribbon. You have to wear the ribbon.
You're not wearing the sticker?
You're not wearing the sticker? You must wear the sticker.
See, nobody offers me a sticker at my polling place. They're just on the table, and I always grab about 4 of them.
Say Ken Weaver is wasting the state's money. Look at him. Even Weaver is in on Big Sticker.
I put one on Fritz. I take him out and proudly display him around the neighborhood.
And folks go, did he vote?
He can't vote.
He's wearing the sticker. Must have voted. I don't know. He apparently he has ID, ma'am.
I want to know which of our elected representatives on Capitol Hill are being lobbied by Big Sticker to have these things every election.
And they change about every year. I don't know that we've had the little state of Tennessee sticker. It is somebody's job. And I'm telling you the truth. It is somebody's job to go to these county probate offices and to find these elected officials that are in charge of putting on elections and telling them, well, Sumner County got those brand new Tennessee-shaped stickers. Y'all just have these circles that say I voted. Y'all don't want to be outdone by Sumner County, do you? Come on, Wilson County. You got to get you some new stickers. And then the people say, yeah, but we have 28,000 of the old. Those are stickers from last election. It's a new election. We need to get new stickers up in this place. That'll be $12,546.15.
It's the most important election of our lifetime.
And you're going to use old stinky 2012 stickers? Yeah, but they say that's old business. We need new stickers. Big Sticker.
I cannot wait to get some more stickers now, man.
The best part, so I call in to Mandis' show this morning, Weaver.
Okay.
He demanded that I call and defend myself because he's showing off his sticker that Amy gave him to bring to class. And, I mean, that's the way he said it. He said Amy set it out for him this morning. So, okay. I was like right next to his lunch. But I kid because I love Mandis so much.
Yes.
I mean, he's so good. But he was chiding me for my hatred of the sticker, and he said, "Well, Matt, do you hate all stickers?" And I said, "Dan, I don't know if you see." I was like, "Dan, have you seen?" And if you're watching on Super Talk TV, I was like, "Dan, have you seen my laptop computer?"
Yeah, that's right.
And he was like, "Well, no." I was like, "Well, if you notice my laptop computer the next time around, I think it's safe to say that I don't hate all stickers, just the I voted sticker." And by the way, my latest sticker that I just put on my laptop computer, it's a little jug of OJ. It's a little jug of orange juice, and it says, "Full of vitamin C you in hell."
Did you put it next to your vodka sticker?
No, I should have done that, Bill. That was actually a good idea. Anyway, so there's my sticker talk on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I am all about some God-fearing, good-hearted, American, free market stickers. What I don't like are these government-enforced, government-bought and paid-for Marxist communist stickers that we've got running around the state of Tennessee. I want to know from an elected official, and I know you people are listening. I know people like Scott Sapicki and Jack Johnson and all you others are listening right now. I want to know how much those stickers cost the state of Tennessee. I bet it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I bet it's hundreds of thousands of dollars in stickers on the regular. And I ain't putting up with it. So anti-sticker here. Now, on to more serious matters. Why do you think, the leadership of Hamas, Hezbollah, Israel's not putting up with this anymore? Ken Weaver's been reporting in the newscast that yet another leader in the Hamas organization, and apparently this one was considered to be responsible for the planning and the execution of October 7th, 2023.
Yahya Sinwar.
He is now DRT, dead right there.
Yes.
And I absolutely love to see it. And if that's a failure from a faith-based perspective on me, then so be it. But I do not pause a moment when I hear about the death of an individual that's responsible for killing that many innocent children, that many innocent civilians in the nation of Israel. Nope. Not a moment missed sleep for the death of a terrorist. As a matter of fact, I celebrate it. That's me. So the worst thing to be is the guy in charge, right? And this guy was apparently in charge of the October 7th attacks. One wonders, well, why was it October 7th that Hamas broke the ceasefire? Why is it now that Hezbollah is being attacked? Because Israel's tired of living under a constant state of fear. Secondarily, and we've covered this on the show in the past, and it's important to remember why this happened when it did. The Israelis were preparing to further normalize relations between the nation of Israel and Saudi Arabia. They were close to getting the go-ahead to normalize those relations, to normalize trade negotiations, to normalize freedom of movement between the Israeli people and Saudi Arabia, further normalizing their presence in the Middle East. Hamas, which has dedicated its entire existence to the destruction of Israel, couldn't have any of that. Hezbollah can't have any of that. And by extension, Iran, which funds it all, can't have any of that. And so they dedicated themselves to create a dynamic by which the Saudis had to pull out of that agreement, which they did. That agreement got put on hold immediately after October 7th. Now Israel is engaged in a long-term conflict to eradicate those that want them dead. And so this negotiation is on the table, but it will sit on the back burner until such time as all of this is completed. In the meantime, Benjamin Netanyahu says light is prevailing over darkness, and he's absolutely 100% correct. So if you're wondering why Hamas picked that time, it has nothing to do with oppression of the Palestinian people. It has nothing to do with whether or not Gaza was being controlled properly. Hamas was controlling Gaza. And by the way, this organization has seen billions of dollars funneled into that region of the world. I would be willing to bet you, and I don't have the statistics at my fingertips to back this up, but I would be willing to bet my paycheck for the rest of the year that this is the case, that they are receiving in the Gaza Strip more donations worldwide per square foot than any other place on planet Earth. And all they've done with it is create fear and terrorism and oppression and death. It's high time that we got all of that behind us. If the Palestinians want to control themselves, they need to figure out a way to do it in peace with the Israeli people and the rest of the region of the Middle East. Otherwise, they get dead too. And that is the end of that story. It's 12:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Somebody just suggested that we create a sticker that says, "Say no to stickers." I'm all in on that. We're working on it. We're working on it, 4202. You guys are the smartest listeners on planet Earth. And it's that level of intelligence that leads me to this. So, gentlemen, if you have noticed that you have felt run down over the last year, 2 years, maybe it's been happening over your 40s or even into your 50s. If it's been happening for a minute or two and you don't know what's going on and this has begun to manifest itself with a lack of desire to go out and do things, a lack of desire to do yard work, or even a lack of desire in the bedroom. Now, I know that is a very personal topic, but if you lose that level of intimacy, you can lose components of your marriage that are absolutely necessary to keep that marriage functioning as you want it to function. There is an organization that can help you. It's the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're not here to sell you anything. They're here to solve problems for you. And it starts with a visit to Tennessee Men's Clinic. One of their qualified urologists will go over you. You'll get a full examination. They'll get some blood work from you. They'll figure out what's happening inside of your body, whether it's T levels or something else. And if it is something that they tackle at Tennessee Men's Clinic, they're going to get to it. And they have many different ways to solve your issues, whether they be energy-related, ED-related, whatever they might be. Tennessee Men's Clinic can help. 2 locations to serve you. One's in Franklin, the other in Midtown Nashville. Let's get with it, men. Let's put this issue behind us. Let's get to Tennessee Men's Clinic. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or 615-208-9090. 208-9090.
1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Israel, crowds gathering outside Israeli Defense Forces headquarters in Tel Aviv after Israel's foreign minister announced the man killed in today's Defense Forces operations in Gaza is Hamas top leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar. Sinwar is considered the mastermind of the October 7th attacks.
Clearly, this is a massive moment for Israel. Yahya Sinwar was Israel's most wanted terrorist. And the statements from top officials, they're calling this a massive military achievement. And actually, over the months, I've constantly spoken to people close to Prime Minister Netanyahu who have basically been saying, look, one of our key goals is to take out Yahya Sinwar.
That's Tom Sufi Burridge reporting there in Tel Aviv. Hurricane Helene recovery. Officials say false claims about the Federal Emergency Management Agency led to a tense standoff in Tennessee.
An angry armed group of people confronted relief workers in the Hurricane Helene disaster zone in Tennessee last weekend. Carter County Sheriff Mike Fraley.
Those FEMA workers, they're here to help. And if you don't want FEMA's help, then, politely tell them so. But they are human beings just like we are.
Turns out the relief workers were not with FEMA at all, but were part of a volunteer group that's been responding to disasters for 20 years.
As Jim Ryan reporting, he says the group backed off and some of them even returned with donations. Here in Middle Tennessee, Hendersonville police telling News 2 the items they seized from New Shackle Island Market and Smoke Shop in a raid over the weekend can be dangerous.
There's a possibility that it causes you to go unconscious. There are chances that it causes death.
That's Detective Lieutenant Christopher Gagnon, who says they took whippets or galaxy gas, which is laughing gas, which people were buying from the store to inhale to get high. They arrested 25-year-old Omar Al-Azab. A renewed push for license plate reader cameras across Davidson County. Metro Police Chief John Drake says they could have helped find the accused Antioch Greenway killer faster.
Giving us an opportunity to deal with this sooner rather than later. We feel we're ready to go. We did a pilot. The pilot was successful.
Well, you'll remember Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell telling WTN's Matt Murphy show yesterday a new proposal for the council to consider on LPRs could be ready by the end of the year. Meanwhile, Channel 4's Holly Thompson says Metro Parks has weighed in on the murder of jogger Alyssa Lockett.
In a statement, Metro Parks called the shooting horrific and said their priority is for Nashvillians to feel safe and welcome at our parks and greenways. Metro Parks went on to say they are constantly looking at ways to upgrade their security system, whether it's additional security cameras or adding more patrols.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Are you tired of living in pain? Feel like no one's really listening? You do have choices when it comes to your care. At the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief, they do things a little bit differently. They try to take the time to sit down with you, understand you, and create a personalized solution just for you. What would you do if your pain was gone, especially if you've been living in pain for some time now? Imagine the freedom and the possibilities. At the Dr. Gill Center, they've helped literally thousands of people just like you get out of pain over the last 30 years, and they can help you too. With over 60 years of combined experience, I think it's more than that, actually. I've done the math. Dr. Gill, Dr. Wendy, Dr. Dominic, Dr. V themselves. Anyway, the team at the Dr. Gill Center has the knowledge and compassion to make you feel better, to give you a pain-free life. Let's make that a reality without unnecessary surgery and without having to take medication time and time again. I don't just talk about these folks on the radio. I'm also a patient, and I trust this team with my health. You don't have to settle for a clinic that doesn't put you first. Call today at 615-882-4838, 882-4838, or visit, and I don't often give this website, need to give it more, callmepainfree.com. That's callmepainfree.com. Let's work together to make your pain-free life a reality with the Dr. Gill Center. Hour number 2 starts right now, 1:06. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Thank you for being with us. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour has concluded. It's episode 674 of our visits together. My locks for Trump Day 229. I mentioned on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can view those locks for yourself. I'll shake them out if you want me to. By the way, we were talking last hour about, the surefire way to get me to not do something is to tell me I have to do something. I mean, I've never seen the movie The Blind Side because my co-host at the time in Birmingham, Alabama told me, Matt, I just saw The Blind Side. You have to see The Blind Side. The Blind Side's so good. You'd love The Blind Side. And I don't know what it is about me. I don't mean to do this intentionally, but I was like, well, I'm not going to see that movie.
You're a contrarian. It's part of your personality.
So the redheaded stranger has shown up in my feed. You know who that is?
Yes, Pamela Furr.
Pamela Furr. And Pamela Furr says, Matt, this is what I got from her at 12:41 this afternoon on my text. Matt, you just have to refuse to give me $1,000. Oh, my goodness. You have to refuse to give me $1,000.
Okay.
Okay. That's that's what they call the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah, never give a ginger money.
Yeah, it's always a bad idea. Hey, by the way, Pamela Furr's Bourbon Bash is coming up pretty soon, right? At the factory in Franklin. I think that's November 16th. I believe that's correct.
Isn't Glenn going to be there?
Yeah, he's one of the keynote speakers. I'm going to be there, but I think I've got 2 functions I think I have 2 events that night. And so I will
What's
be
the other one?
It's the MMA, the Armored MMA event. At the
Oh,
Municipal
yeah, I forgot about
Complex.
that.
So I'm going to go to that one first, and then when that concludes, I'm going to head over to the Bourbon Bash. So, I'll be a man about town on November 16th. One way or the other, you ought to go to the Bourbon Bash. It's a fabulous event. If you've never been, you need to go. Okay, so to speak on the matter of last evening, the Brett Baier, Kamala Harris interview, I've got lots to say about it, but I've kind of held off until we get his voice in here. He is the head of the Republican Party in Davidson County. His name is Lonnie Spivak, and he joins us on the Matt Murphy Show to give a thought about what's happening in Davidson County regarding early voting and perhaps what he thought about this interview last night. Hello, Lonnie. Good to talk with you.
Hey, Matt. Great to talk to you.
How's it going in Davidson County, my friend?
Things are rocking here in Davidson. Voter turnout's high for early voting, and we like what we're seeing so far coming out of the county.
Are you hearing a lot of conversation about this transit tax? We've had members of the loyal opposition to it. We had Emily Evans on, who runs NoTransitTax.com. We had Ben Cunningham on, who is a longtime voice against additional taxation in our community. And we also had, on the other side, Freddie O'Connell, the mayor of Nashville, was on yesterday to support the transit tax. Are you hearing a lot of conversation about it, Lonnie?
What I'm hearing is that nobody really knows anything about the transit tax even being on the ballot. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Most of the people don't pay that close attention and couldn't tell you who's on the ballot if they had to, other than Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. And so most people, from what I'm seeing, aren't really aware that there's a transit tax referendum on the ballot.
I think that's probably intentional on the part of the people that want to see this pass. I think they think if they can motivate their core group to go out and vote yes, that many people will take a pass on it. Although it's been my experience, Lonnie, that if a politician does not fully explain a tax increase to the voters of any given community, the predisposition, especially in the South, is to vote no on it. So, in other words, it's if you want me to vote yes, it's up to you to convince me to move off no.
Well, I think, I ran 2 oppositions to the previous transit plans, and I think the predisposition in Davidson County is to vote no on any kind of transit, especially if it includes a tax. The last time it went down 3-1. I think that them not being as public about that probably helps them a little bit. They put it on the ballot during a presidential election, knowing there'd be a high Democrat turnout in Davidson County. But even Democrats don't necessarily want their own personal taxes to go up. So we'll just see how it goes. The opposition's not as organized as it was the previous times. Not as much money is being spent to oppose the plan as it has before. But people in Davidson County, for the most part, don't have good fuzzy feelings about the transit plans in general.
Well, I think people just want, even good-hearted people that want to believe that the government effectively and efficiently uses their money, and I can't even get that out without laughing, but even those good-hearted people want to believe that their money's going toward a good purpose. And after talking with the mayor, Freddie O'Connell, one of the chief architects of the plan, about it for 30 minutes, I still don't know what purpose. He says, well, sidewalks. Well, we're already building sidewalks, so this will build sidewalks faster. If it's going to specific use, then why doesn't the tax sunset at some point? And they can't really answer that. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. Maybe enough people believe in it that they'll vote for it.
I'm obviously asking people to vote no on this plan. It makes no sense for the people of Davidson County to spend that much money on something that will have zero effect on transit.
What about turnout? Are you seeing a good response to early voting so far?
Early voting is high in Davidson County. We had, if you include absentee ballots, almost 20,100 people early vote the first day if you include the absentee ballots, which is a pretty high turnout for us. We were averaging the in-person voting about 1,500 people an hour, which was high for us for a presidential for the first day. We'll typically see the number build as early voting comes to an end, but to have such a surge on early voting the first day is unusual for us. And we're also seeing long lines again today. In Hermitage and Bellevue, we're seeing lines as long as 45 minutes. So the interest is still there. And, obviously we're encouraging people to go vote early and make sure you vote the entire ballot. If you're going there, it's not that long. It's 2 pages. But those state house and state senate races are just as important as president here in Tennessee. And we're really close to winning some of those, it looks like.
Well, I was going to ask you, Lonnie, obviously you're more in touch with these local races than I. Republicans are obviously the minority in Davidson County. You can't really say that about any other county outside of Shelby in the state of Tennessee, but they are. And so it's more of an uphill battle to get the message out and to make sure that conservatives/Republicans in the county know that there are alternatives to the bluer candidates on the ballot. Any names come to mind if I ask you some of those competitive races that you just referenced?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we have 4 Republicans running for state house in Davidson County. We've got a couple of really competitive races. That's District 60 up in the Hermitage area with Chad Bobo. We have District 50, which is kind of the western edge of the county. It almost makes a C around the county. It goes in Bellevue, goes up towards Lebanon. Bo Mitchell's the incumbent, which is a pretty hard left-leaning Democrat. Jennifer Frensley Webb is the candidate in that district, the Republican candidate. She's running a great race. Both of those races are in the margin of error. So we're going to be really looking at turnout to make sure we get those two candidates over the top. And in the state Senate, we have District 20, which is Wyatt Rampey. Wyatt is running against Heidi Campbell, who spent her entire time in the state Senate running for other offices. But he is also running a great race, and that race is also in the margin of error. So
wait, who is the candidate running against Heidi? Why have I not had this person on?
Wyatt Rampey.
Okay,
I'll send you his info when we get up
do.
there.
I would love it.
But Wyatt showed Dan Manda's houses when he first moved here to town.
There you go.
He's a realtor here in Nashville, but he's really running a great campaign. This is his second time running, but he's doing a great job, and that race is really close. I mean, hair's edge from the numbers I'm seeing. So it's really going to be turnout, and we're really encouraging, Republicans in Davidson County to get out and vote. We know you're here, so go to the polls.
You mentioned
you don't have to wear your sticker.
You don't have you can do you on the sticker front. Everybody's their own person when it comes to the stickers. You can or you cannot, but we do ask you to exercise your God-given constitutional right and go vote. You mentioned Bobo. How close is that race? Because I've met Chad. I am very impressed with Chad Bobo. I think he has a lot to offer the state of Tennessee, and he's made some inroads in that district.
Yeah, his opponent wants to be part of the Tennessee 3 to make it the Tennessee 4. She is far left. And that district's pretty moderate, especially after redistricting. It's very even. Chad's doing a great job. I would really give him the edge where we are in that race right now. So it's what we don't know in Davidson County is what the voter enthusiasm is going to be on the Democrat side. We just don't know how the Democrats in Nashville are going to feel compelled to go out and vote. We just don't know that. Because Tennessee as a whole, we know how that vote's going to go. We know Trump's going to win going away in Tennessee, and how much enthusiasm there'll be in Davidson County. We just don't know how to measure that. But
I mean, I think a lot of it. I don't. Maybe I'm putting too much on the presidential race, but I just have to feel like a lot of it has to do with enthusiasm regarding Kamala Harris, and I don't see it, Lonnie. I just don't see the enthusiasm that we obviously saw with Barack Obama in 2008, even Barack Obama in 2012.
Right.
I mean, I just don't feel that.
It's anecdotal, but I'm hearing a lot of people who are just saying, I just can't vote for her, but I'm just not going to vote. It's anecdotal, but that's kind of what I've been hearing from people, and that's why we can't measure it, right? And in Davidson County or in Tennessee in general, because we don't have party registration, we can just kind of infer that you're a Republican or Democrat based off how you vote in the primaries, and most people don't vote in the primaries, so we have a really hard time targeting people in Tennessee to make sure we know,
In Davidson County, has it tightened up Republicans versus Democrats in your analysis of the numbers?
Well, over the last several years, that gap's gotten a little bigger on the Democrat side. And what we've seen since the August 1st primary is about 22,000 new voter registrations in Davidson County. And we don't know how those people are voting yet. But it's about 9,000 people a month who've registered since the August 1st primary. So we don't know if those are refugees or people who've relocated to Davidson County. So I've requested that data from the Election Commission. We'll start breaking down that data as soon as we get it. And, but I feel really good about where we are right now. The candidates that we have in the race are doing a great job. In Nashville, it's a hard nut to crack, and just hats off to those candidates for putting their name on the ballot. It's a tough road here in Davidson County.
One of the reasons, Lonnie, that I like having you on, one of the reasons that I try to introduce you, reintroduce you, and reintroduce you to the listening audience. I mean, most people know who you are and what you're all about, and I so respect what you do. It's one thing to control the Republican Party in a bright red county. it's another thing to do what you're doing in Davidson County. And I think it is, I mean, it's the nature of the beast, but it's also unfair and unfortunate that we dismiss Davidson County as blue when there are so many, and I understand that it is majority blue when it comes to politics, but there are so many Republicans, there are so many conservatives that perhaps don't speak as loudly as they would like for fear that they get pushed down or pushed aside. I want to remind people that Davidson County has plenty. Probably in raw numbers, Davidson County has more Republicans in it just because they have so many more people generally. They have more Republicans in it than a lot of counties in the state of Tennessee. They just don't reach a majority. And I just want to remind people there are plenty of good conservatives. There's good conservative individuals that want to cast their name into the ring. And we try to highlight that.
Well, what I would like to tell those people is that your voice matters. There are hundreds of thousands of Republicans in Davidson County who just don't vote in local elections, don't vote in presidential elections, but philosophically they're Republicans. And I just want to let them know that their vote does make a difference. In the races where we had competitive candidates, I mean, we're talking about 50 votes will win a race at the local level. And so if you don't think that your vote could count in that, you're wrong. Every vote will count in these local races. And, our message to everybody is to get out, vote local. That's the most important. Presidential years are great. We're very busy, but our local elections are off years. And, you can engage with us at gopnashville.org. You can just put your email address, and we'll just let you know what's going on around the county. We have events going on every week. Right now, multiple events going on every week. We're going to Speaker Sexton's doing a bus tour, a Get Out the Boat bus tour with a bunch of our local politicians and politicians from around the country. They're going to be coming through Nashville on Saturday, October the 26th, and we have information about those stops on our website. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. And really, the two state House seats and the state Senate seat, those are the most important at the state level. The state caucus is all in on those races. They've maxed out what we can do with those candidates. PACs are running pieces. I mean, these are competitive races, and these candidates really need your support. So if you're on the edge, just go vote for them.
Absolutely love it. Real quick, in the 30 seconds we have left, did you see the interview last night with Kamala Harris? Did you watch any of it?
I saw the clips of it.
Yeah.
And I heard Brian Wilson talking about last night. It's what I expected because she's as deep as a nickel, and there's just no there. And if she gets past her talking point, she's just a stuttering mess. And so that's about what I expected.
Yeah, that's what we saw last night. Lonnie, thank you so much for everything you do for Davidson County and beyond. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate
All right, take care. 23 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Was that Wyatt on the phone?
Yeah, he's going to come join us next Wednesday at 1:35.
Wyatt Rampy?
Rampy, yes.
Is running against Heidi Campbell, our good friend, Heidi Campbell, who is repeatedly invited back on the show. You have invited her, 3-4 times since
three. Yeah,
since I booted her out of the studio?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that wasn't a permanent boot, but apparently she feels that way. But we'll invite her back on. I mean, if we have Wyatt on, we are obligated this close to an election cycle to have her on, and she's welcome to take up that time. I invited Gloria Johnson on the show.
And I don't understand why she wouldn't come in and hang out with us.
Who, Gloria or
either of them.
I mean, Gloria's big enough. She'll bend me over her knee.
She ain't putting up with it.
No. Gloria might have been in violation of Tennessee law. I'll tell you how in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I've got a message for you conservatives in the audience. You don't have to wait until November 5th to start taking your country back. You don't have to wait until you get in line at election time to take that country back. It's time to get back into the fight right now with Coin. Coin is the conservative credit card, friends. Instead of funneling millions of dollars to the left like other cards, Coin advances conservative values and gives to conservative charity. Earn cash back while fighting back. I invite you to apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN.com, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to coin.com.
Israel takes out the top leader of the terrorist organization Hamas in Gaza. We'll let you hear what that's sounding like in Tel Aviv right now. Coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. 28 after the hour. Benjamin Netanyahu speaking on this a little bit while ago, saying that evil has suffered a heavy blow. That is certainly the truth, and that is a good piece of information, good piece of news coming out of the Middle East. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. 615-737-9986. Chris, I did not say that Gloria Johnson was fat. I don't call people fat. I'm fat, but I don't call others fat. I said she was a big girl, and she is. She's like 6'4" or something. I mean, I don't know how tall she is, but she's very tall. She's a large person, so that's not calling her fat. That's just saying she's a tall. I mean, she calls herself. She said that right there on her website. Hold on. It's Thank you for the, Lonnie, thank you for the Wyatt Rampy connection. We've got Wyatt Rampy coming up next. Will you say Wednesday? Wednesday?
Next Wednesday at 1:35.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good local piece of information. Gloria Johnson was on the campaign trail the other day. We had Trey Hargett. Maybe I wouldn't be so sensitive about these types of things, but we had Trey Hargett on yesterday, the Secretary of State. He was talking about the first day of early voting and some of the do's and don'ts at the polls. And he reminded the voters of the state of Tennessee that you are not to wear campaign paraphernalia on your person when you go to the polls to vote. That is not permissible. Just as it is not permissible for a candidate to actively politic within a certain distance from the polling place, it is similarly not permissible for individuals to wear campaign paraphernalia. And I understand that it's a judgment call. As Trey Hargett put it yesterday, if you walk into the polls and you have a shirt on that says choose life, you'll be allowed to vote because the abortion issue is not currently on the ballot in the state of Tennessee. It is not a ballot issue. But if you walk into the polls and you have a Trump shirt on that has Trump at that Butler, Pennsylvania rally, he's got his hand in the air, he's got blood running down his face, and it says, fight, fight, fight. You are going to be asked to put something on over that. And I know that many of you will not like it.
What if you were just wearing a MAGA hat that just said "Make America Great Again"?
They'll ask you to take that off.
Just because it's so associated with him?
It's his campaign slogan.
Right.
Okay. It'd be like, Biden's Build Back Better, or I don't even.
This shows how have to have the campaign or the candidate's name on it.
You know what? It just shows you how awful Kamala Harris's campaign has been. What is her campaign slogan?
Joy.
Is that what it is?
I had no idea.
I mean, honestly, what is her what's Trump's campaign slogan, everybody? Make America Great Again. Right? Well, it was in 2016. He wanted to keep America great in 2020, and now what is her slogan?
Joy.
I mean, I assume
Joy.
I think it's turn the page.
Turn the page on my administration.
I think that's what it is. Well, Gloria Johnson was at the polls with a chick that had a Gloria Johnson T-shirt on, and I want to know why she wasn't kicked out of the polls. We're going to find out together. Right after Ken Weaver's Newscast Plus, I will play you some of the clips from the Brett Baer Kamala Harris interview. You can't miss this. It's coming up on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. A serious injury wreck in Lebanon has traffic pretty slow go West Main near Snow White Drive-In. Multiple lanes had been shut down. It looks like it's improving a little bit. Only one east and westbound lane were open. Lebanon police say expect delays there. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Israel. Relatives and supporters of the hostages held by Hamas rallying in Tel Aviv, calling for a ceasefire and release of the hostages now that top Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, is dead from an Israeli Defense Forces operation there. Meanwhile, in Beirut, James Longman reports Sinwar was the mastermind of the October 7th attacks that started the war and a major roadblock to getting a ceasefire.
Israel is fighting on multiple fronts, so the opportunity now for Israel, this is the biggest off-ramp it's had out of Gaza. And I think the focus will be on the hostage families. Really, it's down to them that they were able to get the first group of hostages out. This is really the biggest moment they've had in quite some time to try to put a pause to the fight to get the rest of the hostages out. We know at least 100 still inside Gaza, many of those dead.
Right now in Tennessee, Hendersonville police telling News 2 they got a search warrant and seized items that were being marketed to young people that can be deadly.
There's kids or young adults going in and making a purchase of this stuff to get this quick high and then potentially killing themselves in the process.
That is Hendersonville Police Detective Lieutenant Christopher Gagnon, who says the police officers served that warrant. They took whippets or galaxy gas, which is laughing gas, which people were buying to inhale to get high. They arrested 25-year-old Omar Al-Azab. And that's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can find us on the radio, of course, 99.7 FM. Obviously, we are anywhere you stream news, music, or information. Just type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN and take us wherever you go. You can also download our app, and there's Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I need to lean on Belle Kay and Ken Weaver for a moment. Have you guys heard about this new Paramount building that is about to be constructed in town?
The one that's going to be taller than the Batman building?
Taller than the Batman building.
Yeah.
Some 750 feet. It will dethrone the AT&T building, a.k.a. the Batman building, as the tallest skyscraper in town. Right now, the Batman building is at 617 feet. What I'm trying to figure out is where this thing's going. They say it's on Church Street, but is it inside the loop?
Yes.
Does anybody know?
Yes.
It is inside the loop. It's near, I think it's across the street from this, what do they call it, the yards or whatever, at Ascension?
I think that is correct.
It's right over there.
No, it's over there.
No, it's over there.
No, it's down yonder.
No, no, you go over there, you turn left, and then it's down below the thing with the stuff.
With the thing and the stuff?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I forgot about the stuff.
While we talk, Ken Weaver's actually getting valuable information for the listening audience. Yeah, this new thing, upon completion, the Paramount Tower will
1010 Church Street.
1010 Church Street. Okay,
let me look where that is.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to look it up. 1010 Church Street. Oh, there. Oh, it's 0.6 miles away, Ken Weaver.
Oh, heck, we could walk over there, boys.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, 0.6 miles, that's
a little over half a mile.
That's cutting it close. Cutting it real close. Oh, okay. Okay. That's right. Yeah. Down near Union. Polk Avenue's down there. That's near Rosa Parks Boulevard.
Yep.
Okay, I know exactly where that is.
Maybe we'll drive over there.
Yeah, we'll.
Maybe we'll do that.
But the Paramount, it's a huge development, and it is expected to be 750 feet tall, completed in 2027. Man, oh man, you'll have that completed in 2027. You have the brand new stadium completed in 2027. A lot of things going on in Nash, baby. It is certainly the it city after all. All right, so a couple of clips from last night. Now, I understand that there was consternation as to how Bret Baier would conduct himself. I thought he did a fabulous job. Like I have said, if you're in that position, and I know because I've been in that position, not with a presidential candidate, although I did get a chance to interview Donald Trump years ago. I also interviewed, I interviewed Trump that year, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio. There were a lot of Republican candidates that came by Birmingham, Alabama in 2015 and 2016. I imagine the same could be said for Tennessee. A lot of them vying for that primary vote. But I've never had the chance to interview something along these lines where you know that it will be a little... I've had adversarial interviews in the past. And you kind of know when things are going to go off the rails. And I thought Bret Baier did a decent job trying to keep it on the rails and honestly just trying to get answers to some basic questions. For example, and this is just an example, Bret Baier talking about illegal aliens being able to apply for driver's licenses, something that Kamala Harris was emphatically in favor of in 2019.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
Is that an answer? I mean, if you're the interviewer, or more importantly, you're the listener, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Does that do anything for you? I cannot imagine being a leftist, being a Democrat, and having to defend that. Brett Baier asked a direct question about a point in the campaign that is regularly seen as the most important issue in America today: immigration. They spent a good 10 minutes on the topic of immigration. And I'm going to play it again. This question is not a trick question. It's not a gotcha question. You supported in 2019 allowing illegal aliens to apply for driver's licenses. You supported allowing them to qualify for free tuition at universities. You supported illegal aliens getting free health care. Do you still support those things? And the answer was, we're going to follow the rule of law. Ma'am, you're not following the rule of law now. You are the present administration. However much you want to turn the page from that, you are currently the boss. Joe Biden's not the boss. We all know it. You're the boss. I find it amazing that you conveniently want people to believe that you're in control, that you're in the room, you're the last person in the room when big decisions are being made, yet you can't tell us where you are on this issue.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Okay. Do you still support those things? Application for driver's licenses, free tuition at universities, free health care. Do you support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again. And
ma'am, that wasn't the question that anyone asked you. We asked you if you support allowing illegal aliens to get driver's licenses in the United States of America. We're not asking you what the law is currently. The Democrats have clearly demonstrated that they have no desire to follow the law as it is currently written. Otherwise, we would not have the border crisis at the southern border that we see that exists. We're asking you what you would do. And Baier follows up as a great interviewer. He follows up by shifting to, wait a minute, the evidence demonstrates that you do still support those things as based on who you selected as a vice presidential candidate.
As Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
She's caught, and she knows she's caught. And if you have a chance, if you did not see the interview live, if you've only heard clips, go back and look at this moment in the interview. She is clearly caught. She knows she's caught. She doesn't have an answer, and she's desperate to figure one out.
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law.
Okay, so you understand how dumb this comes off? I hope that you do. I think that you do. I mean, this is not ignorant. This is just, she is not good at this. There's a reason why this is the first one-on-one sit-down that she's done with a serious-minded journalist during the course of this campaign. This is why she needs to go back to the Whip Me Daddy or what is it? Beat Me Daddy, Call Me Daddy podcast. Or maybe Howard Stern so he can slobber all over her some more, saying that he would vote for a stump rather than vote for Donald Trump. This is not working well for you, this inability to answer. It is almost as if it were a parody, but it is not. Here's another clip.
Frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about.
Okay, she plays this. Oh, my goodness gracious. She plays this cutesy thing where, and Brett Baer was having none of it, where he's like, 79% of Americans believe that the country's on the wrong track. You're that track. It's you. You've been a part of the administration for 3.5 years. What have you done? By the way, I could walk you through the questions and answers in a way where you could give answers to this stuff if you're better at what you do. Do you think, and I'm not here to give him any accolades or kudos, but do you think Barack Obama would get stuck with a question like this? No. You know what you do if you're smart? You blame the Republicans in Congress. That's the easy out. Brett, I agree with you. No, absolutely. I understand what those 79% are so frustrated about. We're equally frustrated, and most of them agree with me that we need to get so-and-so passed in Congress. We need to get so-and-so passed in Congress. We need to get this passed and that passed. And if they would have done this and that and the other thing, we could have gotten some of those things done that would make those lives better, and the dadgum Republicans stopped us. That's the answer. And her response is to say, well, Donald Trump's been campaigning?
For 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
And then she does this. Come on, Brett. You know what I'm talking. And I love his response. Listen, she's trying to play friendly, like, oh, we're buddies here. You know what? We both know what I'm talking about. And he says,
You and I both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
I actually don't. What are you talking about? The best line of the interview. You know what I'm talking about. America on November 5th is going to offer a resounding, no, I actually don't. What are you talking about?
Talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade, people have become. But listen.
And I actually think Brett followed it up with, I want to say his weakest part. I wish he would have stayed out of the way on this answer. He did get in the way a little bit, and I understand why. Don't get me wrong, but I wish he would have stayed out of the way because she was in a corner, man.
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade, people have become. But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, frankly,
nothing. Just absolutely nothing. 51 after the hour. She pivots to attacking Trump, by the way, at the end of that at the end of that clip. Your thoughts on all of this interview coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Would love to hear from you at 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. So if you're looking for someone that you can trust when it comes to heater repair, I have that person, and his name is Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling of Tennessee has the best value around on tune-ups. If you need maintenance on your unit and you've not done it yet, there is still time, of course, to call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. He has that $125 guarantee. That means when he comes to your residence, no matter if you have 1 or 2 or 3 units, you never pay more than $125 for a tune-up on those units for the winter season. That is his guarantee to you. Now, often I would tell you it is less than that, depending on where you are and how many units you have, but that is the upper end cap. Never more than that. Jeff Eddy also keeps those invoices down by never charging you overtime in the evenings or on the weekends, because your heater doesn't know what time it is when it goes out. So why should you pay more depending on the time of day? They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, which is a big deal as well, and they can help select your next unit when the time comes. EfficientHVAC.net. That's EfficientHVAC.net, or call 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient.
Looks like we got a crash, and it is blocking 24 eastbound right there at 65 to go north, right there at Trinity Lane. And Israel kills another terrorist leader, bringing hope for a ceasefire. We'll tell you about it at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
By the way, that's a commentary by Matt Murphy. That is not an official part of the news tease, that woohoo. That was my woohoo, not Ken Weaver's woohoo. Ken Weaver might be doing a woohoo, but he's doing it privately. He does not extend that woohoo into his newscast.
I like those chocolate woohoos.
Hey, Donald Trump just made an appearance at Javier's barbershop in the Bronx, a black-owned barbershop. It went like gangbusters. I mean, it really did go well. He's a man of the people. Can you imagine Kamala Harris going into a sports bar in Tuscaloosa, Alabama? I cannot. Here comes the news. We got another hour to go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Yeah, seeing a crash. It's right there, 24 eastbound, where it meets with 65 at Trinity Lane, north of downtown. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in the Middle East, Israeli officials confirming a top Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, has been killed during IDF military operations in southern Gaza. President Biden says it is, quote, a good day for Israel and the world. And Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris.
The United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result.
Sinwar, believed to have been the mastermind behind the October 7th attack on Israel and took over leader of Hamas after the July assassination of the previous leader in Tehran. Right now in Tennessee, a police raid on a convenience store. Hendersonville police telling News 2 they got a search warrant after traffic stops revealed a substance which chefs and baristas use for whipping cream was being sold at the new Shackle Island Market and Smoke Shop.
Galaxy Gas, I mean, it's at a convenience store. We know chefs are not going there and purchasing this culinary product for their whipped cream. We know what they're selling it for.
Yeah, Detective Lieutenant Christopher Gagnon says people were buying it to inhale it for a quick high. He says they also found marijuana, and they arrested 25-year-old Omar Alazab. Well, the family of the jogger who police say was murdered on the Antioch Greenbelt Monday evening is speaking out. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
The family says they are experiencing unimaginable grief as a result of Alyssa's death and that she was at the prime of her career when this tragedy occurred. They say that she deeply cared about those closest to her, whether it was family or friends. In a statement provided to WSMV, Lockett's family addressed her death, writing in part, quote, "We are deeply disturbed by the heinous acts of assault and murder against our beloved daughter, sister, cousin, aunt, niece, and friend. For a grave crime, there should be grave consequences, and we will continue to support the authorities in seeking justice for Alyssa to the fullest extent of the law."
Yeah, the suspect, 29-year-old Paul Park, has one violent charge on his record. He was charged with domestic assault in 2017 in Brentwood. The arrest report says Park assaulted his father, grabbing his neck and then throwing him to the ground. Park was arrested and charged and pleaded guilty and was released on probation. Entertainment news.
I'm as carny as Kansas in August.
Actress Mitzi Gaynor as Ensign Nellie Forbush in the film version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. She was nominated for a Best Actress Golden Globe Award. Well, she has passed away today at the age of 93. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and they're allowing me one more hour on this Thursday, October 17th edition to be with you, and I appreciate every single moment of it. I thank you for being here. Thank you so much. We've got 19 days to go before the presidential election of 2024 is complete. I've been saying it one way for so long. I'm trying to reset the way that I say it because I want to try to embrace early voting, because if this is the system that we have, it's the system that we ought to utilize. You know, in 2020, and even before, in 2016, there was a certain amount of this going on too, where Democrats were like, vote early, vote early, vote early, and conservatives, Republicans were like, no, 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 we vote on election day. We vote on the day that you're supposed to vote. We vote the way that our mamas and pappies told us to vote. And that is when election day rolls around, you get up and you take your lunch break, or you go before work or after work, and you cast your ballot on that day. And they count them that day, and you find out the election results that night. Well, things have changed, and I'm not suggesting that they've changed for the better, but I would say that they have changed, and we need to embrace that change if we want to win. And it feels like that is happening. I am naturally, and I look at the numbers that perhaps the rest of you look at, and maybe I look at some of these numbers that you choose not to look at. And I understand that you've got busy lives, so you pay me to do this, right? I mean, I look at the real clear politics average. I look at the various polling data, and now's the time, in my opinion, and I know that, opinions vary about the efficacy of polls and whether or not they are creating narratives or are they, the question is a poll creating something that it wants to further, or is it reflecting something that already exists? And my concern has been for a while that those that are engaging in these polls, whether it be the Washington Post or ABC or CBS or any of the other alphabet soup networks, they're not attempting to reflect genuinely what is going on around the United States of America. They are attempting to create something that is creating a narrative. But 19 days before we culminate this election season with the final day to vote, it might be too late to recreate that narrative. And I think we saw that in full display last night. So I'm interested in your takeaway from the biggest interview that she has done. Vice President Harris sat down for her toughest interview yet since becoming the Democrat nominee. She got peppered with questions from Fox News and Bret Baier. Bret Baier recognized, and as I've described it to you, I don't want to belabor the point, but if you're in those interview settings, and I have been in interview settings where I knew that it was going to get contentious, and I felt like the individual that I was interviewing was being evasive in their answers. And if you feel as if you're being filibustered, if you feel as if they're going to answer for as long as you let them, you have to make a decision within that interview. You either allow them to answer until they exhaust themselves and accept the fact that you're only going to get, if Bret Baier had allowed Kamala Harris to answer for as long as she wanted to, Bret Baier probably would have gotten 5 questions, maybe 6 questions. Because she was going to answer until he interrupted her. That was by design, by the way. It feels like Kamala Harris thinks that she's better than these interviews. It similarly feels like Kamala Harris doesn't seem to think that she needs to prepare for these things. I predicted, and I believe it was a correct prediction, that Baier would do a good job holding her feet to the fire on the issues that matter to the American people. But Kamala Harris has no one to blame for the disaster that occurred last night but herself. She very much comes off as a person that thinks she's much, much smarter than she actually is. She comes off as a person who thinks she is too good to prepare for these things. And we can all tell it. Can you not tell it? She thinks she's above all of this. And she says things that she thinks are profound. And it's just nonsense. I mean, these types of answers, absolute nonsense.
People that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify.
Right, that's one I've played. We played that one the last part of the last hour. I selected the wrong one. My apologies.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election.
This was the number one question.
And specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Okay. I'm going to try to work through this in this way. What is the answer to that question? How many illegal aliens would you estimate your administration has released? So if I'm Kamala Harris, I'm just telling you how much better she could have been. You say, well, Brett, I disagree with the premise of your question. We have not released any illegal, and then you go on lying to the American people about what you've done or what you've not done on the southern border. So you go back to the premise of the question, you disagree with the premise of the question, and then you say our unfortunate border situation has led to all of these people coming in. But you ultimately answer the question. She was not going to answer the question. Do you think Kamala Harris knows how many there are? By many estimates, there are as many as 8 million in the last 4 years. 8 million illegal aliens in this country as a result of the disastrous proposals by these two. Here's how she answered it.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have.
By the way, do you think she's glad that he raised that issue? Come on.
And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number?
You know what I'm going to do? No, I don't. That's why you're sitting here, ma'am.
You think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a...
Let's get beyond this question that you've asked me about how many do I estimate. Let's get to the point of the matter.
Broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions...
I'm not finished. We have an
rough estimate of
system.
It took 50 seconds to get to an I'm not finished. Okay.
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes.
Do you know what bill she's talking about, Bill? It was an amnesty bill that Congress did not take.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
It was an amnesty bill. It never got brought up to the floor. It never got voted on.
In the Senate or the House?
In the Senate or the House.
So Schumer's part of the problem, too, then?
Apparently so. The Democrats who are in charge are part of the problem.
Ma'am, it was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the...
Yes, ma'am. May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You had the White House and the House and the Senate.
Yes, I mean, so Brett Baer does exactly what he should do here. He's cutting through her lies, and the reason that she's trying to overtalk him is because she knows. They brought up a bill that the Democrat-run House and Senate chose not to take up. Why? Because it was an amnesty proposal that many Democrats were against. It did nothing for border security. As a matter of fact, that was a period in time, and they act as if we don't have memories. That was a period in time where they were applauding. They were breaking their arms, patting one another on the backs, talking about all of these executive orders that they had rolled back from Donald Trump. Mayorkas went around to any news organization that would have him in the summer and the fall of 2021, talking about how celebration ensued after they rolled back all of these executive directives that were non-humanitarian or against the concept of humanity that Donald Trump had put into place. How dare he protect our southern border? How dare he?
In the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
I would like to finish. I bet you would. I'm not going to let you. Even Harris supporters have to know how bloody awful she is at all of this. Just horrible. There are ways to answer these questions. In the meantime, Barack Obama wants you to know that if you are, for whatever reason, you think against Kamala Harris and you're a black man, you're a misogynist. Stephen A. Smith, who is primarily a sports reporter on ESPN, I guess he's still on ESPN, I'm not really sure. I want you to listen. I am convinced that Stephen A. Smith is voting for Donald Trump. He's just too scared to say it. Listen to this.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
This was Barack Obama when he initially rolled out this idea that black men are not voting for Kamala Harris because black men don't like the idea of a woman being in charge. So the suggestion, not the suggestion, the statement is, oh, you're not feeling a woman as president, meaning you're a misogynist. That's the only reason that you would vote against Kamala Harris, because you think that men should have dominion over women or something or another. Listen to Stephen A. Smith.
I'm going to say it again, respectfully. What you said is not acceptable. Not to me, not to a host of black men out there. You see, what you're missing is that you're basically accusing black men who come up with a reason to not support Kamala Harris as engaging in misogyny. Whatever happened to disagreeing without being disagreeable, President Obama? What happened to that? All of a sudden, we want to challenge men and our love and our affection as black men for black women. We want to bring that into question because we've got an election coming up and people may have the temerity to think differently than you. It's because she's a woman that she's in danger of losing this election? Is it possible that the only reason some black folks, not me, may not be inclined to vote, or they may be a bit disenchanted, or dare I say may even be willing to go as far as voting for Trump? Is it possible that it's policy as opposed to misogyny? Is it possible that they looked at a Democratic Party that is locked in on addressing or not addressing immigration and folks crossing the borders illegally, and have prioritized focusing on that, along with other issues, identity politics and beyond, that has become such a focal point that has turned off folks in the African American community? Some, not most, not all, just some.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And he's exactly right. How dare these people assume? How dare these people stereotype you? Whomever you might be. You're your own person with your own dreams and aspirations. You have your own priorities as to what's most important for the United States of America. But don't believe that. You best believe Barack Obama when he tells you if you don't vote for the black female, then you're a sexist. You're a misogynist. Maybe even a little bit racist. Maybe an Uncle Tom.
Collectivism is a hell of a drug.
Sure is. I love it. I think Stephen A. Smith might be considering voting for Trump. I don't believe he'll ever say that, but I mean, based on what he's saying, you can hear the frustration in his voice. How dare someone that he has respect for, like Barack Obama, suggest that the only reason you'd be doing these things is because of some level of misogyny. Danny, we'll get to you in a moment. Johnny, you too. You on the phone, 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the Glock store and their participation in our big election night party. Absolutely love it. You know, the last time we had a big party, the Glock store was there, and the Glock store said, hey, we want to give away a custom gun, a customized gun for one of your listeners. And we had, I guess, almost 400 entries to that event. That was the vice presidential debate, and it was a huge success. Well, they're doing it again, friends, on election night, and this one is huge. I'm looking at photographs of the beautiful Glock that they will be giving away from the Glock store to one loyal listener, to one lucky listener that attends the election night watch party. All you have to do is sign up when you get there for the possibility of winning this incredible Glock. Now, it has, on one side, it says Trump on the slide, and on the grip, it's got a photograph, an image engraved in the grip of the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, the 45th and soon to be 47th President of the United States. On the reverse, it's got an American flag on the slide on the other side of the gun, and it also on the grip has an American eagle, a bald eagle, and the shield of the United States of America. I absolutely love this gun, and I love the fact that the Glock store is good enough to give it away at our big election night watch party. It's happening November 5th. Mark it down on your calendars and be there with us at Supertalk 99.7 WTN and the Glock store, glockstore.com.
Traffic problems are piling up, and it's not even rush hour. We've got West End Avenue at Murphy Road, 21st Avenue at Ackland Avenue. It looks like they are cleaning up that 24 eastbound at 65 North, just north of downtown. And Israel has killed another terrorist leader. We've got reaction from the White House coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Kid Weaver. There he is in the newsroom gathering headlines, all the while making sure that you are as informed as possible on the goings-on around Nashville and the surrounding areas, including our state, our nation, and our world. I'll get to you as promised on the phone, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN, coming up in just moments. Don't forget about our Big Bash coming up. I mentioned it during our conversation about the Glock store. Big Bash coming up on November 5th. Also, VIP tickets are available. It is up in the air whether or not I'll be wearing the shoes that I plan on giving away that night.
No, don't do it.
I have listeners telling me that I should wear them, because I often say, that I offer as a prize a bottle of water and an ink pen used by me. Well, these are just shoes used by me.
But these are cool shoes. I mean, those are something that a collector would want and own. And nobody wants your foot stank on it.
Wouldn't they? One, my feet don't stink.
Your feet stink.
No, they don't. I mean, some people's feet stink. Mine do not.
Yeah. I got bad news for you.
Okay. I mean, look, I understand that some people have a bacteria problem down there. I don't. I just
think it's a great prize, and it's better if you haven't worn them.
I've already worn them.
Well, you don't need to do it again. We don't have to double stank them.
Double stank.
We're on the double stank. The old Matt Murphy double stank. Can't get away from. We need to create a segment around that title. I don't know what it would be. But
funny.
I think everybody would look forward to the old Matt Murphy Friday double stank.
Yes.
On Super Talk 99.
Might overtake Fred, Jay.
I'll tell you what we could do. I could let you have this bottle of Aqua Velva I have in here, Brother Murphy, and you could just pour some of this ice sport in them before you hand them over.
Just put a little splash. Ken Weaver's got the solution right there.
It'll smell good.
Just a little splash in there.
Yeah, see?
Splash or a sploosh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I just think it's a really great prize. And you're kind of you're taking it down a notch by wearing them again.
I think I'm being insulted. I think your suggestion that my wearing the shoes somehow I mean, if I go buy a beautiful brand new driver for my golf game,
right?
And I go and I buy the driver and it's brand new out of the box.
You go play around.
Okay, but if I go and I buy a driver and somebody tells me, "Hey, Tiger Woods has used this driver," is that driver now more valuable or less valuable? That's a more valuable driver, Bell. Are you literally comparing yourself to Tiger Woods?
What if he used it to kill a spider?
Arguably the greatest golf player ever.
I bet I do a better talk show than he does.
Oh, without a doubt. I have no doubt on that one at all.
I think that's a good point. What if I killed a spider or a Democrat, but I repeat myself?
Oh.
I mean, yeah. So I think my foot's presence in the shoe increases the value of the shoe. That's all I'm saying.
Especially if there's a little sweat coming out from between the toes.
Stop it.
See, there's a reason that I like Ken Weaver better than you. I mean, well, there's a lot of them, but this is one of them. Add this to the list. Are you feeling better, by the way? People are asking.
I'm probably about 85, 90%.
Oh, well,
you sound better today,
You
Brother
sound a
Wells.
lot better today.
I do feel better, but I'm still not, I'm a little slow in terms of my reaction time.
Belkay, you at 50%, you're better than most at 100%. Let me tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that. And the only reason you're saying that is because you're worried that I'm insulted that you said you like Ken better than me.
No, that was just kind of a statement of fact. I was just letting that lie. Hey, speaking of liking Ken, I like him so much. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now, the Middle East war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns this war is not over, even though IDF killed Hamas top leader in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar. That's not how Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris sees it.
This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. And it must end such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, crowds gathering to rally for a deal to release hostages because they fear they are in greater danger now. Here in Tennessee, Hendersonville police telling News 2 they got a search warrant after traffic stops led them to a convenience store and smoke shop where police say people were buying things to get high.
Ultimately, search of that then revealed that they were selling marijuana out of the store, as well as some culinary products that they're utilizing for inhalant purposes.
Yeah, that's Detective Lieutenant Christopher Gagnon, who says officers confiscated whippets or galaxy gas, which chefs and baristas use for whipping cream. It's a type of laughing gas which you can inhale and get high from. This was at the Shackle Island Market and Smoke Shop where they arrested 25-year-old Omar Alazab. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
If you're not getting a restful night's sleep, there can be a number of reasons for it. And one of those reasons potentially could be sleep apnea. Do you know if you have sleep apnea? 25% of adults in the United States of America have sleep apnea and don't know it. Mild to moderate, some even severe sleep apnea. Now, if you've tried a CPAP machine and it just doesn't work for you, or if you don't know, time to contact Dr. Stephen Poss, Dr. Brian McLaughlin, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. These are two great guys. Dr. McLaughlin came on board with Dr. Poss earlier this year, and they've expanded their practice. They now can reach more and more customers just like you that want to sleep better tonight and want a valuable resource in the form of this FDA-approved appliance. It fits into your mouth. The way that I describe it is like a football mouthpiece, you see the football players wear. You don't really notice it once it's in there. But it gently holds your jaw forward. It keeps the airways open. Make sure that you're breathing with regularity throughout the course of the night. You don't stop breathing. You don't wake up. You sleep better, more restful, and your spouse is more rested as well. Find out more. They're in network with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Medicare, as well as TRICARE for the military. It's time to get this handled. Let's go ahead and schedule an appointment with Dr. Stephen Poss, Dr. Brian McLaughlin, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. drposs.com is the website, drposs.com. Have you gone into your basement or crawl space lately? If not, I would encourage you to slip down there and see what's going on. I mean, find out if you've got standing water, a musty or a moldy smell, if you see cracks in the walls of the basement or the crawl space, because all of these could be signs of significant damage or potentially significant damage at your home. And you need the best when these things happen. You need USS. They are problem solvers. They never try to upsell you on things. They simply analyze what's going on in your home, and they are experts enough to understand what they see can lead to worse things down the road. So it's not just what you're experiencing right now, but it's what it could lead to down the road. That's where their 30 years of experience comes in, because let me tell you something, folks. They know that each home is unique. Each home is a little bit different than the last, but they've seen it all in 30 years, and they've helped 25,000 residential customers just like you get better use of your home, to get better, more and more life out of your home, and to make sure that you don't have very expensive repairs down the road. 615-488-7855 is the number. 615-488-7855. They guarantee their best. It's USS. Online at USSTN.com. Here is the, by popular demand, because I mentioned this, Donald Trump made an appearance at Havel's Barbershop. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Javiels. Havel's Barbershop in the Bronx, which is similar in nature to Kamala Harris walking into a bar in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or hell, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, for that matter, or, you know, one of the suburbs of Nashville. I don't know that she would do that, but he will do this. This is a black-owned barbershop in the Bronx, and this was the reception.
Nice to see you all.
Welcome. It's our pleasure.
How good are the barbers here?
Excellent.
Very, I can see they're good. They look good to me. Nice soft floor. What's that all about?
That's what the back.
Is it something? The back. Nice to see you all.
Thank you for being here.
Big hands. Strong guy.
Thank you for being here.
Nice to see you.
Thank you, Trump.
So you're the owner?
My son is the owner. He's his father.
Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you?
He's great.
He's better. Nice to see you.
So it's a little bit hard to hear. Donald Trump walks in. He gets applause. There are people in chairs. There are barbers standing around. There's a lot of folks in the room. And Donald Trump comes into the room. He feels the floor. It's one of those soft floors because there's people standing up giving haircuts all day. And he comments on the floors. That's a good one. That's a good idea. As he's walking toward the camera, where the camera is positioned in the back of the room, people in the room, and you can tell this is organic, Donald Trump doesn't go to them. They start holding out their hands in anticipation of Donald Trump shaking their hand. And he starts shaking hands of people in the chairs. He shakes the hand of the one guy that he says, "Are you the owner?" And the guy says, "No, my son is." He goes, "Oh, was that good? I like that. You give it over to him. Is he as good a barber as you?" This guy naturally connects with people in a way that you would never see Kamala Harris doing, because he is an authentic human being. Say what you will about the guy. Hate him, love him. He is who he is. Jeff is in Hendersonville with a thought on the Kamala interview. Hello, Jeff. Thank you for holding. How are you?
Brother Matt, how you doing?
What's up, brother?
Good to hear from you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just real quick. So, revelatory, right? Only 17 minutes. Trump mentioned, 25, 30 times. But Brett didn't even get to Ukraine or Israel. And by the way, God bless the IDF. Yahya Sinwar is dead, a terrible terrorist, right? But, imagine what the answers would have been there. And, that's what I'm telling my Democrat friends. Hey, man, you can't continue to just ignore this stuff. We can all get abortions and whatever, which that wasn't going to change anyway. But really, what are you running on? These are real issues that have, imagine Kamala sitting across from any world leader, let alone an enemy of the U.S. This should really be, but I just don't, the few people I've talked to, she was ambushed. Come on, any candidate should have to answer questions like this. It's
I hesitate to put it in these terms, Jeff, because I don't want to make this a male-female thing, but I'm going to say this, and I think most will understand what I'm saying. She's beta. Any room she walks in, she's beta.
Yeah.
And you can tell through this interview, she was on the defensive. She is beta. She's not making the decisions. She's regurgitating the decisions. I mean,
she can't even do that. She can't even articulate any position. It's really scary.
I mean, I don't believe that Barack Obama was ready. I'm going to use him as an example. I don't believe he was ready for prime time because all of his understanding of how the world is supposed to work was academic. And boy, oh boy, socialism sounds really good in an academic setting, right? Because it's not the real world. But I never for once thought that Barack Obama didn't understand the issues that he was discussing, at very least enough to command a room about them. She can't even do that.
No, it's Friday. My wife had a good point. Patty had a great point. She always does. And that was, it might have been a good idea to have, one of the other Fox woman commentators. That way they couldn't claim, the male angle that, it was just a male berating a woman, which, they'll play the victim card. But I thought that was a valid point, that maybe have Dana Perino or one of the other, I don't know them all by name, but maybe one of the other.
Martha McCallum would have been an obvious example. Dana Perino would have been another example. And I agree with you. I don't know the dynamics of how they set up the interview. I don't know if the Harris people demanded Bret Baier or if it was something that he led and so he was going to take part in it regardless. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But, Jeff, you tell Patty I said, hey, tell her that she needs to get her guys to call me because I need to do business with you guys. Okay.
She passed on info.
All right.
She's going to another source. So sit tight, brother, man.
Oh, I'm here. I'm waiting. I'm ready to go, brother. Tell her I said so. Okay.
Okay. Appreciate
All right, man.
it.
All right. Take care. There's Jeff in Hendersonville. Jeff and Jeff's wife works for a great company local to our community that I want to tell you about on the radio, and she wants me to tell you about on the radio, and we just have to get the powers that be checking off on it, and then we're gonna blow this thing up, man. Danny is next in the borough. By the way, before I get to Danny, I want to get to this clip. Danny, you hang in there. Johnny, you too. And I think Johnny's actually in front of Danny, but whatever. Bret Baier commented on this after the interview, and it's important to note. And I said, it is hard to describe the box that you're in if you're the interviewer and you know that a candidate is doing this to you, that they are going to filibuster you. They're not really answering the questions that you're asking because when you begin interrupting, they're going to try to interrupt your interrupting, and then a lot of people watching the interview are going to consider you or call you rude. But if you don't do it, you get 4 questions in 20 minutes. And as Bret Baier said last evening, you're about to hear it, they were supposed to start the interview at 5 o'clock. She shows up 15 minutes late already.
When the kicker in football, they call a timeout right before he's going to kick the field goal. They're icing the kicker. So we were supposed to start at 5 p.m. This was the time they gave us. Originally, we were going to do 25 or 30 minutes. They came in and said, well, maybe 20. So it was already getting whittled down. And then the vice president showed up about 5:15. We were pushing the envelope to be able to turn it around for the top of the 6 o'clock. So that's how it started. And I could tell when we started talking that she was going to be tough to redirect without me trying to interrupt. I did this with President Obama. At one point, I just said, Mr. President, I know you like the filibuster. I just didn't even have the chance to sometimes redirect in those ways. I had a lot of other questions.
He had a lot of other questions. I'm certain he had questions about Ukraine. I'm certain that he had questions about other foreign policy matters. But so they start off with a 30-minute time frame. They show up 15 minutes late. I mean, this is what they do. They think they're better than you. They think their time's more valuable than you. And they don't think that they owe it to the American people to speak directly to some of the questions asked by Bret Baier. Johnny is next in Nashville. Johnny, thank you for your call. What are your thoughts?
Hey, Brett. I'm listening to you. Hi, man. How's it going? I'm a first-time caller. Thanks for taking my call.
Man, I'm glad you're here, Johnny. Thank you for calling.
Okay, first off, I was just, I'm letting you know I'm a black man. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm 45 years old. I am a real strong Trump supporter. Voted for him last time, and all my friends, of course, relatives. I was a racist and this, that, and other. Well, time went on, time went by, and everything was so good while he was in that office. And then when he went out and this other crew came in, it got real ugly for him. And now I'm probably the best thing since sliced bread. And I want you to know that this thing with Barack Obama and the black man, this, that, and other, they're scared. He's scared. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. It's because more and more of us black men, our eyes have been opened. And these Democrats, they have been promising, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And they've done, and I asked my friends, well, what have they done for you? What have they did to improve your life or the way of living? And they never could come up with nothing. And now I'm finding that all these people, they are full Trump supporters. What happened?
That's Johnny, this is a great story. So of your circle of family and friends, specific to, because I know you have friends of all walks of life, all races or whatever, I'm certain, but from your black friends, how many do you feel like have kind of turned around on it over the last several years?
Well, listen, I've got friends even in other states that I talk to. And, I mean, it's more and more. I mean, I would say 6 out of every 10 of my friends, and I'm not exaggerating, they are voting for Trump. We are coming over to that side because and I'm telling you something I try to explain to them. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I really don't too much care about what he tweets or what he thinks. That he's a human being. He should have his personal opinion. But his policies lined up with my pocket. When he was in office, I could go get a loaf of bread and fill up my tank. And if I wanted to go to Zany's or somewhere for a comedy show, I could do it. Now I got to pick and choose.
Yep.
Going up, and I commute to work. I work like 45 minutes from my home. And, that's another whole story. But this thing about, like I said, but this Barack Obama and the black man, they are seeing that, hey, these Republicans, we need to give them a chance because, when Donald Trump and when he was in office, action always speaks louder than words. And one more thing, this Kamala Harris thing, I was so happy because I was like a kid on Christmas Eve. I said, finally, we're fixing to get some answers out of her. We're going to see where she stands on these policies. And, of course, we got the same old lallygag out of every, and I just knew Brett was going to be able to get it out of it. And only thing that shocked me, that I probably would have took better than anything else if she could have answered at least one question with, I was raised with the middle class. Okay?
That's right.
At least I'm ready for that one. I was used to that one, so she messed me up on that one. But other than that, I don't know. We should go on her when she ran in 2019 or whenever it was she ran. I'm going because she stated her issues then.
That's right.
And those are the only ones that we really know about. So if she's not going to tell us about the ones she's got now, which are all of Donald Trump's issues, of course.
Johnny, I love it. Hey, call me back. Call me back anytime. And I want to talk to you between now and the election on multiple occasions. I need to get the temperature out of the room, okay? So call me back.
Thanks for having me.
Love it, man. That's a great call. And you hear Johnny there. He said he's getting more and more people. Because here's the deal. Even if you think that Donald Trump, even if you've bought into the narrative, and I don't believe it for a moment, I think Donald Trump sees 3 types of people. He sees friends, enemies, and useful idiots. I think that's the 3 type of people he sees. But even if you believe that Donald Trump is some of this stuff that they say he is, does it matter if he's making your life better? Does it matter if his policies affect your life in a positive way? Even if you believe that, he's going to improve your life. She is not. Danny, I hate it, but I will not be able to get to you because Bell says it's time to go to a break. So we're going to blame Bell K on that. We'll talk with Brian Wilson next, see what's up with the drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. They're stupid. Oh, I got it right. Winding down our portion of the broadcast day, but never you fear. We leave you in the capable hands of Brian Wilson, who has 4 hours, it's my understanding, 4 hours of talk radio excellence on the way.
That's what we strive for each and every day.
What's going on, Brian?
Well, I mean, the same thing that you've been talking about to some degree. I mean, come on, this interview, we were able to turn around most of it in the 5 o'clock hour, and so our audience heard it as soon as it could be turned around. And but I think that the reaction to that is a big story, and I want to know. We didn't really have time to get into it yesterday. What the audience thinks about that, so we'll ask that question and open up the phone lines. A lot of 2024 news. I mean, it's like trying to get a drink out of a fire hose. There's so much stuff to talk about. One of the things we were picking up yesterday is a pretty strong turnout for first day voting, early voting in person. And I have the numbers on that now, and it backs up my suspicions yesterday that people are taking it very seriously, and Republicans are going to the polls earlier than they ever have before.
Well, and that's good news, right? I mean, I know I talked about it back in 2020, 2021, and beyond, and I think you've talked about it as well, the idea that, you know what, I wouldn't pick this system of voting. I would do it differently, but it is the system we have. We ought to embrace it if that's the system we have so as to not be taken advantage of by it.
Well, that's right. Better to bank it because, you know, as I like to say, on Election Day, you may have the best intentions, but sometimes life intervenes, and just go ahead and bank it and be done. And it seems like a lot of people are doing that. I'll have the exact numbers from some of our counties within our listening area coming up after the news
there
at
you
3
go.
o'clock.
There's Brian Wilson. He is on the way next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll be listening. Hope you are as well. That's right after Ken Weaver's newscast, which is happening right now on Super Talk. Until tomorrow, a First Amendment Freestyle Friday edition of the Matt Murphy Show. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Enjoy the drive. Hug your loved ones. So long.